TG Geeks, episode 282, July 13th, 2020. Lists, sci-fi, and Hellboy. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, part of the surface of the, or Valley of the Sun.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from not-so-lovely Phoenix, Arizona. We have the monsoon is here.
Well, and it got up to 111 yesterday.
I know, it was just way too...
It was awful.
It was too stinking hot.
Too stinking hot. All right, let's get on with it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are going to talk to author Fraser Sherman, who has had quite the career. I mean, it's amazing, the number of different things that he has done. We'll talk to him and find out more about who he is and what he has done. Have our birthday shout-outs, as always, a fun little trip down memory lane, and our featured podcast of the week. And then we have some feedback as well as our shout-outs. In the second segment, we're going to talk about two things that we've recently watched. Hopefully we'll have enough time. And then our weekly recap and our closing stuff.
I just wonder, you said trip down memory lane. Is that related to you and, you know Keith Lane, memory lane? I mean, is it a family member?
Yes.
Okay.
How did you know?
It was an inspired guess.
I see. An inspired guest.
If you wish.
All right, here we go. And this time we welcome to our show Fraser Sherman. He is a nonfiction writer, and we are talking to him and because of another interview that was spawned by Scott Coatsworth's shout out that he did to us. So thank you for joining us, Sherman. Or Fraser.
Oh, thank you for having me, Keith.
Wow.
Wow.
Everyone gets that one wrong.
I almost Sherman. Yes, this is my pet Sherman.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We're kind of goofy.
That's okay. I get that a lot.
So, tell us in just kind of the elevator pitch of your life, as if you were going to the top of the Empire State Building, the long elevator pitch of your life, who you are and how you kind of got into writing.
I was born in England. My father was American Civil Service. We moved to the Florida Panhandle in '69. I would still be in Florida, but about 12 years ago, I met my wife, Leanne, well, the woman who is now my wife, and moved up to Durham because writing is a little more movable job than hers. Uh-huh. And so that's the basics of my personal life. We are now married. We celebrated our 9th anniversary just recently at the time this interview was conducted. And we have no children but 2 very adorable dogs. When I got out of college, I had always known in my life I was going to be a biologist. After I got my biology degree, I had come to accept that it did not appeal to me as a profession so much as something to read about. I, somewhere along the way, thought it might be fun to write, so I figured I'd try it, and it turned out I liked it. Oh. I have written short stories, several novels as yet unpublished. Let's see, I worked for about 15 years for various papers as a newspaper reporter. I've written magazine articles ranging from Newsweek and Boy's Life at the high end to specialty publications such as Law Enforcement Technology and Paint and Wall Covering. And I think I've written some articles for Dragon magazine back when that was still a thing.
Wow.
And that covers, most recently, to pay the bills, I do all kinds of specialty articles relating to business, how to find a job, details about a job, salary range, tackling various management problems. So I do them for various online companies.
Wow, you have...
And I have written I've written 5 film reference books. I just signed a contract to do a 6th, which should be done next year.
Wow, you have written about just about everything from wall coverings to police technology. That was a very interesting little segue there that you had. Yeah. I'm sure that was on purpose, but just to show the wide variety of things that you've written. So of the novels, you said you have not published any novels at this point, or you have several that you haven't published?
I have several novels that I have not published, and at this point, I no longer think they're good enough to be published. I have one that is currently being shopped around, I have hopes for, one older one that I am working on making a final edit for self-publishing, and one I am currently working on, which is a rewrite of an earlier version. Uh-huh. A lot of the stuff that I did when I wrote this back in the 1990s has not aged well, but the new one really seems to be the new version really seems to be coming into shape, so I'm hopeful. I hope to get that out to beta readers in the fall.
Uh-huh. So those were your tryout novels that you wrote, if you will.
So to speak, yes.
Your training novels. Well, maybe you can rework them, or maybe they have some good ideas or seeds that are planted there.
Yeah, you
that
never
might
know.
Reappear in something else that you're going to write in later days here.
When you started doing your fictional work, what kind of genre were you looking at? I mean, were you looking at like noirish detective stories? Were you more interested in science fiction or fantasy? What was the avenue that you found yourself going down most?
I have originally I wanted to write science fiction / fantasy. It has skewed predominantly to fantasy. In recent years, a lot of it has been recent historical fantasy. The novel that I'm shopping around is in the 1970s. I have various stories. I have a self-published collection of short stories. They came out on the Big Pulp website, and then I reworked them a little and turned them into a 12-story anthology. They're all set in an old 1950s. I have a couple of stories in the 1970s, one in the 1930s. So I just enjoy recent historical a lot.
Uh-huh. What was it about doing historical fantasy that was such a passion for you?
I like history. I find just the different slang, the different preconceptions people have, the assumptions about how the world works to be interesting. It's sometimes fun if you tweak them. I have one that's set in 1700s, I forget now, but it's built around assuming that René Descartes has taught various mystical secrets to his followers, and the protagonist gets involving the man in the iron mask. And so that was a great deal of fun, throwing all that stuff together and mixing it. Also, more recently, I had one story that was set contemporary, and it involves Nazis, and after Charlottesville, I had to go back and rework it because the reaction to that topic from people in the story are going to be entirely different. And I've reworked it once since, and then I finally decided to give up and set it back in 2012 so that it's not going to have to deal with whatever insanity happens next. Right. Even though it's influenced by some of what has been happening, but I will not have to update it. Also, the characters are relatively old, which is because they were making movies back in the 60s, and after a certain point, and who knows how long it'll take to sell, they will be way too old to be practical for my purposes. So it is easier because the past isn't going to change.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So, gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Well, let me ask this then. Given the fact that you really write in so many different eras, And because you're such a lover of history, obviously there's a lot of research that must go into the way the nature of the world as it existed in this different time. Do you find that also informs how you write in terms of the vocabulary? Because different eras used a different type of prose, for example. I mean, does that affect the manner in which you write as well?
I do not see. There are a couple of stories that I have done which are old school, hard-boiled detective type set in the 1930s, or a reasonable facsimile. And for them, I use the old Raymond Chandler, Philip Marlowe type tough guy dialogue. Otherwise, I cannot say really, or I do enjoy incorporating a lot of 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s slang into the story. That is part of the fun. Mm-hmm. So not so much my style, but when I'm talking in the character's voice, or if they're doing first-person narration, yeah, the language of the era is going to seep in.
Interesting. So, I know what it was. I noticed on your website that you are apparently a Hellboy fan.
Uh-oh.
I'm a big Hellboy fan, yes.
Well, I wanted you to say how much of a fan.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because
I agree.
Obviously you were a pretty big fan. Tell us about that fascination and what you have done. You've apparently written quite a bit on that.
Yes, okay. For people who have not visited the website, which is FraserSherman.com, some years back I decided it would be fun, since I have pretty much all the Hellboy stuff and BPRD and Witchfinder and the various other spin-offs, if I read them all in the internal chronological order, which is not the way they are released and published. And the trouble is they may have stories in wildly out of order, depending in any one Hellboy collection. They're going to be stories often from several different eras. So I thought I would keep track of it as I wrote for future reference. And eventually I posted the chronology to my website as a special page. And that, apparently, I am not the only one who wanted this as a useful resource, because that's far and away the most visited thing on my site in any given week. Mm. So I feel pleased because a lot of people appreciate it. As to Hellboy itself, I started out, I think I read one of the third or fourth Hellboy series, and I frankly couldn't follow it. Then I went back and read the second, and things started to make sense. And then I went back and read Seed of Destruction, the first series, and now it all made sense. And then I became a really enthusiastic fan, and I have been collecting since.
Mm-hmm. You sound like, well, based on some of the things that I'm reading on your blog, you come off as a serious comic book / graphic novel fan. Would that be a correct thing to say?
That would be very accurate. I read my first comic book, Justice League of America 30, when I was 6 years old. I was instantly hooked. It was so much cooler than the real world, certainly my real world. And I have been reading ever since. I do not read as many current comic books as I used to, but the amount of older stuff that is available, and of course rereading the stuff I always have, I probably read more comic books now in a week than I have in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew that I immediately liked you because I was looking at your blog, and yes, you've got that cover of JLA 30 with the Justice League battling the Earth 3 crime syndicate, and I took a look at that and I said,
yes.
Oh, this man is speaking to my heart. Yeah, because I remember that story quite well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And there's, on your nonfiction section of your blog, I was just scrolling down there. Obviously, you've got time travel and James Bond, and then you have cyborgs, Santa Claus, and Satan.
Okay. We need an explanation.
Yes.
Yes.
That was many years ago. I was a big fan of movies as well as comic books. I also got into reading books about movies, and I had always been interested in TV, science fiction, fantasy films, and influenced by a friend of mine in college, I started keeping track of movies when I watched them, noted down when they came out, who was in them, and that's a topic that at the time tended to get slighted in the free internet age. Actors filmography books tended to skip over TV movies entirely. Most books about science fiction film disdained TV movies in the genre. So I thought, I've always wanted to write about movies. Maybe that would be a good topic. And, well, why not try it? So I submitted to McFarlane, which is a publisher that puts out a lot of movie and pop culture books, proposed the concept, do a book about TV, horror, fantasy, and science fiction films. They accepted. And when the time came to suggest a title, probably one of the commonest science fiction topics is some kind of cyborg typically created by the government and then going rogue and having to be hunted down. Santa Claus movies for fantasy and movies somehow relating to Satan or hell for horror. So I suggested that as a title. It's very atypical because they usually have fairly simple descriptive titles, but this time they took it. I guess they couldn't think of anything better, and I'm happy because I love the title.
I thought, well, when I scrolled down and I saw that, I said, "Oh my gosh, I have to find out about this."
Well,
because it's a great
title. I mean, that's the kind of thing that nobody is going to forget. You don't want to write some very simple title that just gets lost in the work and no one's going to remember it. But all you have to, because the best form of advertising is word of mouth. And to have a title like that, I can just see people standing around the water cooler saying, I just read the most amazing book. It's called, Cyborg, Satan, Santa Claus. And people are going to be like, what? Tell me more. And then they're going to want to go out and they'll tell two friends and they'll tell two friends and so on and so on. So, yes, that's actually a very smart title.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And then the next on the list was the Wizard of Oz catalog.
That is a lot.
Go ahead.
That is a lot more typical of the McFarlane style. They target hardcore movie collectors and libraries and reference libraries, so they sell mostly on their reputation rather than having to have a catchy title. They said that catalog was the right choice. I trust them. Yeah, this was basically, it's a little out of date now, a encyclopedic list of Wizard of Oz stuff, books, the original 40 books by the original publisher, L. Frank Baum, and his designated successors, Oz fanfic that has been published, movies, radio plays, stage plays, as much as I could find out about them, a few websites. This was early days for the internet, of course, TV shows, so everything I could find that was Oz-based. Oz being a humongous fandom that has probably sold the best of my movie books, which is not surprising.
Yeah. You said something that caught my attention. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, you said McFarlane actually, the publisher, recommended that you do this book?
No, they recommended the title. They had contacted me after Cyborg, Santa Claus, and Satan came out and said, okay, that one did pretty well. Would you be interested in coming up with another? We kicked around a couple of ideas. I eventually suggested Oz. They said, yes, this is cool, and we hashed out the details.
Okay.
So, yeah, they were a big help in figuring out where I went with it, but no, it was my idea.
Because something that I'm noticing is that to say that you are varied is an understatement. I mean, you have got, your writing pen in everything. I've never seen a writer do as much different, nonfiction reference books as well as writing fiction as you have. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this question. When it comes to taking on a new project, how does that come into your head, and how do you decide, today I want to tackle this particular subject and I want to write a reference book, and then say, several months from now, okay, now I feel like I want to write a fiction. I mean, how does that work in your head? I'm very fascinated with the psychology of this.
Usually, well, I don't know what particularly kicks me off on a particular subject, but okay, for the third movie book, which is about political paranoia and infiltration themes in American movies, I have a friend of mine who is very interested in that as a topic, and he had mentioned to me once that, anti-communist American films, for example, just treat communists as a kind of generic evil person who wants to destroy America, and pretty much indistinguishable from Nazis or sometimes evil alien invaders. And so taking it as a theme, I thought that would be an interesting topic to explore. For the fourth one, which now and then we time travel, I've watched a lot of time travel movies, and I've noticed patterns and themes in them, like how often, you meet someone when you travel to the past, you fall in love,
right?
Then you return to the present. But wait, you meet someone who is played by the exact same actor or actress. You found them again, and of course you haven't, because it's going to be a completely different person, but it's a good enough hand wave that movies figure they can get away with it. And I thought it might be interesting to look at topics like that and angles like that. So, and apparently McFarlane agrees. There's a lot of material out there. That took a lot of work. The next two nonfiction books I'm working on, one is for McFarlane on alien visitors, friendly and unfriendly, on a much smaller scale, thank goodness. I came up with that one. An editor at another press was sitting someone to work on a book like that. It did not fly with his press, and he gave me free blessing to shop the idea around, so I did. And the other, because I also write in venues everywhere from letters to the editors to occasional magazine columns to newspaper columns when I was a reporter about sexism and lots of stupid sexist arguments. So I'm putting the stupid arguments together in a book and explaining why they're wrong. I should have that one finished later this year. I'm working on the final draft.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
What? Oh, no, I was saying I have printed it out to work on the final draft, and then I will probably self-publish it sometime in the fall, assuming everything goes smoothly and I don't get swamped under with other stuff.
When you are writing some of these non-fictional things, especially those that deal in a genre kind of, like science fiction or fantasy, do you find that some of the material that you research, do you find that actually informing your fictional writing as well sometimes?
Not to date. I mean, some of the movie stuff, the collection of 1950s stories I wrote, which is out as Atoms for Peace, was based on what if all those 1950s movies about alien invaders and pod people and kaiju running amok had actually happened, how would the government and society deal with them? But that kind of movie is not something I've written about as much, although I've certainly read about them. But no, to date, I cannot say that the movies I write about have really influenced my fiction.
Mm-hmm. Well, in any case, I mean, you've written a lot of material. There's some fantastic, based on your conversation, there are some really interesting subject matters that I think people might want to take a look at. So if people want to learn more about your writing, now you've already mentioned your website, and that was FraserSherman.com. Do you have any other social media presence by which people can follow you on? Oh, and you
now the Fraser Sherman, as we want to clarify,
that's your blog.
That it is I suppose you would say the British spelling of Fraser, Fraser, instead of an IER.
Correct.
Yes, that is the correct spelling of my name. Most people get it wrong,
and they go someplace else.
Pointing that out.
Yeah.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, Fraser Sherman, and on Facebook, and you can find my books. The self-published ones are on Amazon if you look up my name. A number of them, I use Draft to Digital for self-publishing, so if you go in and look for my books on Draft to Digital, which is a really good self-publishing platform, and I highly recommend them, they will turn up with all the various e-book retailers who have my story. So if you don't want to go to Amazon, they have Kobo and iBook, and Barnes & Noble and various others who have them in e-form. And I think that covers most of my social media presence.
Fantastic.
Well, this was really just a fascinating conversation.
Yes.
Thank you, Fraser, for joining us on the show this time.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
This is Michael R. Menengay, master of model trains and aquariums. You're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
And Podfather.
And he is the Podfather. And that was a really fascinating. It's amazing the number of things that he has done.
I know. I kind of wonder, when does he have time to sleep?
Exactly. Well, here's a few selected birthdays for July 13th through July 19th, 2020. July 13th, Harrison Ford. Star Wars, Blade Runner, Indiana Jones.
American Graffiti.
That's
where he got his big break, I think.
A number of other things. He has a pilot's license for single-engine, fixed-wing, and helicopter.
I didn't know about the helicopter. I knew about the plane, though.
Yeah, and he flies back and forth between New York and this and that he has a home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
I knew that, too. He's had that forever.
Yeah. And Han Solo has a son named Ben.
So he does.
Yes, he does. And so does Indiana Jones.
Wait a minute.
And so does...
Wait a minute. Indy's son is also named Ben?
Harrison Ford.
Oh, Harrison Ford's got a son named Ben. Oh.
Yes. And he was actually a carpenter before he became an actor. He built a home in Jackson Hole and was said to be the best cabinet maker in Los Angeles at the time.
Yeah, he still enjoys doing it, too.
That's quite a talent to be a cabinet maker. I mean,
yeah,
cabinet makers are, trust me, they're artisans. Then we have Patrick Stewart. Actor,
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick Stewart. Sir Pat Stew.
Yes. That's on Twitter, I think.
On Twitter, yep. Actor, Star Trek, Jeffrey, Christmas Carol, X-Men. What else? Anything?
My gosh.
Everything?
He's back in doing Star Trek now with Picard.
Yes. He's a huge Doctor Who fan.
Oh, I didn't know I didn't know that.
Yes, and he was considered and offered several guest roles on Doctor Who.
Oh, man.
It's never happened.
I would have loved to see, okay, so now my big dream, although I don't think this would ever happen, because he's got, like, the most famous bromance going on with Ian McKellen.
Yep.
I mean, the two of them are deeply close friends. I want to see a Doctor Who episode where they both appear.
That would be great.
I mean, it's like, forget the Doctor. I don't want to see I don't need to see anything about the Doctor or the companions. Just focus all my attention on those two brilliant actors.
Yep. And actually, I put this on here because it's just brilliant. He narrated a hysterical animated short for Christmas time. It's called Dear Satan.
Oh, that's right. It's great.
I included the link in the show notes. You can watch it on our website at tggeeks.com.
I forgot about that. It's so funny.
Yep. And then we also have July 13th, Colton Haynes, actor, Arrow, Teen Wolf, American Horror Story. He was born in Wichita, Kansas. And he is a now out gay man.
Yep.
He didn't come out for a long time because he thought it would hurt his acting career.
Oh, he suffered serious mental health because he was so closeted.
Yep.
And the paranoia that was just being drilled into his brain because of that.
Yep. And then we have Facebook friends Lily Spencer and a former classmate of mine, Glenn Schoonover. Let's see, who else is on July 13th? What is that name that's there?
No, can't read it.
You can't read it because it's in green?
Yeah.
The other gay geek
Oh,
here,
my.
Ben Raggington.
I guess
Happy
that would be
birthday,
me.
Honey bunny.
Thank you.
July 14th.
Bastille Day.
Yeah. Jane Lynch, actress, Glee, Wreck-It Ralph. And she plays the Air Force, the Navy commander.
Oh,
Navy
that's
Admiral
right.
on Space Force.
Space Force, yes.
She's great.
I love her. I think she's fantastic.
Opium lesbian.
Opium?
Open lesbian
Opium
woman.
lesbian.
An opium lesbian, yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Openly lesbian woman.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, that took a minute to spit out.
I'm going to stop now. Carol Burnett and she are both fans of each other.
Well, okay, that explains why Carol actually appeared as Jane Lynch's character's mother in Glee, if you can follow that one.
Yeah. She has a fear of elevators, too.
Oh, well, she's in good company.
Yep. July 14th, also, we have William Hanna, producer, Hanna-Barbera, part of everyone's childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Practically. going back into the 60s up through the 90s and early 2000s. When they formed the Hanna-Barbera company, there was an argument over whose name would be first, so they tossed a coin.
Oh.
And despite being very close and good friends with Joseph Barbera, they never socialized outside of work.
No kidding.
Never.
I guess they didn't want to...
Both had completely different interests and moved in different social circles.
But they got on well business-wise.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Good for that.
Harry Dean Stanton, actor, alien, a little bit of everything. Oh, my God.
Yes.
He's just been in everything. Character actor. Was an inspiration for Roger Ebert's Stanton Walsh rule.
What's that?
That says any movie with Harry Dean Stanton or M. Emmett Walsh in a supporting role cannot be altogether bad.
I would agree with that.
But did later admit that Dream a Little Dream was a clear violation of that rule.
Whoops. I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm not either.
But now, okay, now we have to
now we
see
have to
it.
watch it. Oh my God. How many things have we decided that we need to watch? Because
we still got to get Dream Girls.
Or Showgirls.
Or Showgirls, yeah.
Or You Don't Know Me.
Yeah.
Showgirls and You Don't Know Me. Also, Ashley Parks from the development director at Arizona Opera. Happy birthday, Ashley. And Slobodan Popovich. And we know him from Arizona Opera as well. July 15th, Forrest Whitaker.
Hey, we just saw him on in a movie the other night.
Rogue One.
That's right.
And he was also in Black Panther. Lots of TV movies. Oh my gosh. Going way
oh my
back.
Goodness. Yeah, back to the 80s.
Yeah,
easily, yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just like, it's one after another, after another, after
he
another.
He just keeps
after
working.
Another. Yep. And in 2003 became the executive director of the No Dance Film Festival with an emphasis on first-time directors and digital filmmaking. And that was in Park City, there's so many different
film festivals that go up there, I think.
Sundance, and then there's Slam Dance at the same time. So all these dance film festivals.
Ah.
So that's where the No Dance.
I see.
Yep. And then we have Marky Ramone, a musician. Isn't he the one that has the plot next to Toto in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery?
I think it might be.
Well, I don't know.
It is one of the Ramones. It's
one
not,
of the Ramones.
It's not Joey, I know that.
Yeah.
It might be Marky.
I don't know. I'm going to ask that for any Ramone that shows up,
Oh, yeah, right.
Because I don't know anything about the Ramones.
Well, except
I just
they're
noticed
not,
it.
Well, there's only one real
I just
Ramone,
know the name.
And that's Joey. I mean, they call themselves the Ramones. They act like they're brothers. In reality, they never were. But boy, what a great punk band. I loved them. Yeah. But yes, I think it is Marky that's got the statue near Toto at the Forever.
Which is right there with Judy Garland and, the mausoleum with lots of different stars in it. And let's see. Then we have a Facebook friend and actress in,
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, Kaimi Koha. And she, anyway. And then Susan Doran Smith, it just completely went out of my brain. Jeff Patton's film.
Origin?
Beyond the Impact. Yeah, there we go. God, how could I forget that? Sorry. And July 16th, Ginger Rogers, actress, dancer. Fred and Ginger, they did 10 films together. And in 1942, she was the highest paid actress. She was a Christian Scientist, and she never drank, ever.
Okay.
And then we have, actually, I forgot to write this one or put this one in the script, Mary Baker Eddy, who was the founder of the Church of Christ Scientists.
Ah.
It's just, I thought that was an interesting little turn. That's why I put both of those things in there. Then Orville Redenbacher, entrepreneur, the popcorn king.
Yeah.
Was actually a scientist that changed the face of popcorn with a new strain. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That kind of reinvented the whole popcorn world.
No kidding.
Kind of saved it. And he also stated in his autobiography, says, I want to make it clear I am real, because everybody thought it was an actor that played Orville Redenbacher because he was such an
Really?
over-the-top character in the commercials.
Huh.
So anyway, July 17th, Phyllis Diller, actress, comedian. She didn't get her first break until she was 37 years old.
Really?
Yep. And was noticed at a nightclub, and then Jack Parr kind of launched her career.
Oh, of
and
course,
then
and probably the night on the late night talk show circuit,
and did a little bit of everything. Oh my gosh, a ton of guest appearances. She was on Laugh-In several times.
Oh, like more than several.
Yeah.
I understand she had, and I heard this from Frank DeCaro, that she had this. It was a room that had catalog boxes like you might find at a library, that use the old Dewey Decimal System, whatever.
Right.
And all her jokes were filed away in there.
Oh my Lord. I don't doubt that. She was even in an episode of Night Gallery.
Huh.
Yeah.
I seem to remember something about
Charlotte's
that.
Voice or something.
I think we need to find that, too.
And then she was in Bug's Life.
Oh, yes.
She was a very serious pianist.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
She appeared as a piano soloist with over 100 orchestras across the U.S. And before she succeeded, Joan Rivers wrote jokes for Phyllis.
Well, Joan Rivers, yes, that is true. Joan Rivers was originally a joke writer until she became big and then had some people write jokes for her.
Yeah, exactly. And Phyllis was a lifelong non-smoker despite the cigarette holder prop that she used.
Okay, cool for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you never do see her take a hit.
No. It was a prop.
Yeah.
Yep. And her over-the-top gowns and
her wigs.
And wigs. And her wardrobe, and I didn't write this down, was designed by this gal in Omaha, Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And she called her the Omar of Omaha.
Great.
Anyway, she died at the age of 95.
Yeah, she kept going.
I remember when she passed. It was a sad day.
It was, and I really wish I'd had the opportunity, or we had the opportunity, because we were together at that time. But she was doing, it was a comedy tour, and oh my God, I can't think of the guys. Don Rickles.
Yep.
The two of them did this comedy tour together. I would have paid anything to have been able to see that.
Yep. And then we have J. Michael Straczynski, writer, producer, Babylon 5.
That's the big one.
Sense8. He was actually the one that suggested a transgender character on Sense8.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good for him. I'm glad he did that.
And he also wrote for The Twilight Zone, 86 through 88. Mm-hmm. She-Ra and He-Man back in the day.
He did a lot of comic book writing.
Yep.
In fact, some of the story elements that appear in the movie Thor are compliments of him, which is why he got a cameo.
Oh, interesting. And he met Harlan Ellison, Crazy Uncle Harlan.
Crazy Uncle Harlan. Two of them were good friends.
Yep. During the writer's strike in 1991.
Oh, boy.
And after he met him, he was seeking his advice from Harlan.
Yes.
And he said, "You know why you don't sell anything? Because you write crap. Start writing crap."
Don't write crap.
Don't write crap.
That was it. Don't write crap. And that was it.
Yep.
Straczynski actually has that in one of the bonus features for Babylon 5 on one of the DVD sets.
Yep.
He actually says that.
And we met him a number of years ago. We actually, he's kind of the reason that we kind of came together.
Because
we met.
Yeah, because of Babylon 5.
Exactly.
And we
went and told him that story.
He
seemed less than enthused.
He did. I mean, he was gracious about it. And he said, congratulations to both of you. Great success, blah, blah, blah. But he looked like he wanted to be elsewhere.
Yeah, well, he looked like he wanted to be elsewhere always.
I know. He's not a people person.
Yeah, but that was the year of the Babylon 5 reunion panel. It was great. He also rescued a Maine Coon kitten.
Oh,
that
really?
had fallen into a drain in his yard, and they dug up half of his yard and called the fire department.
Just to save the kitten?
Just to save the kitten.
Okay, his rating just went way the heck up now.
Yep. And then we have Facebook friends Scott Miller and Kathy Young and good friend of ours, Tom King.
We need to vacation with them again.
Wow. Tom and Brigitte, I really, really would love to vacation with them. We met them on our
It was
Alaska
Alaska
our first
cruise.
Alaska cruise. Disney
Man,
cruise.
did we have so much fun.
So much fun.
Well, that entire cruise was amazing.
And the weird thing is, we didn't meet them on the cruise.
No, it was before the cruise.
I met them because I'd walked across the street to Starbucks to get some coffee from the hotel, which was just, down a block and across the street. And they hadn't opened yet because it was like, I think it was some holiday, maybe it was Labor Day or
something like that.
Yeah.
Because, we were traveling in September.
Yeah, and they were standing out there, and one of them was wearing, I think Tom was wearing a Disney jacket, and we got to chatting, and it just, we stood out there for half an hour and became fast friends, and they met us in the line, and as we were checking in on board, and
they joined us in First Wave.
Yeah.
The club or the wave band,
wave
at
bands,
the club,
yeah.
and danced with us. Oh my God, they were just
they
great.
Were
fun.
Lots of fun.
They really were.
And we've kept a conversation going,
and
we've missed them
several times.
Just like boom,
ships in the night,
crossed paths. They were going to be somewhere a day before we are, or we were there a day before they were, or
because if I remember right, they live near Disney World, don't they?
Right.
And we were going to be going to Disney World for Christmas, but turns out they were going to be at Disneyland at the same time.
Exactly.
Go figure.
Kind of crazy. Anyway, moving on. They're great friends. I really want a vacation with them.
I do,
It was
too.
so much fun to just chat with. July 18th, Paul Verhoeven. He, RoboCop, Starship Troopers,
And?
Total Recall, Showgirls.
Showgirls, yeah.
An interesting thing is, during his military service in the 60s in the Netherlands, he would attend every event by his very left-wing hippie friends in full military parade dress.
Far out.
Yep.
Oh, he liked to raise a stink, didn't he?
Exactly. And then Vin Diesel, I am Groot.
Yes.
And the Fast and Furious movies. Big fan of Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh, didn't know that either.
Grew up in San Francisco area and has a twin brother.
Named Van Diesel? Or is it Vin Gasoline? I don't know.
Yeah.
Vin number.
Vin Diesel is not his real name.
Oh.
Anyway, and I understand that he is a very liberal and a big ally of the LGBTQ community.
Oh, he's cool.
So, July 19th, Benedict Cumberbatch, actor, detective to doctor to dragon.
Oh, that's about right.
Has been 2 villains named Khan.
Well, obviously I know one of them.
Khan Noonien Singh.
Right.
And Shere Khan.
Oh, that's right. He voiced Shere Khan in the photorealistic Jungle Book.
Yep. And his actual parents played Sherlock's parents.
Yes, they did.
In Sherlock, yep. And the group of people that are his biggest fans were originally referred to as Cumberbitches.
Yes.
But he said he really didn't like that because it was non-inclusive. And so...
Cool for him.
Yeah.
I think he's a really great guy.
Yep. Also, Brian May, or Dr.
Brian May.
Guitarist, astrophysicist.
Astro what?
Astrophysicist.
I know. What were you going to say the first time?
Astrophysicist. Figmentist.
And also...
Of Queen.
Of the rock band. Yeah. He's the astrophysicist of Queen, yes.
Yes.
And he
is the astropsychic of Queen?
How quickly we derail. And I was going to say
Flash.
that... Oh... right. Which he did not write, by the way. That's not his song.
Right.
But he was also voted best guitarist of the world.
Really?
He
Wow.
actually surpassed Jimi Hendrix.
Wow. And did you know that his red special guitar
that's custom made.
It's literally junk.
Yeah, it's all custom made from just bits and things that he found around the house.
Motorcycle springs and a knitting needle.
A knitting needle, little bits of mother pearl buttons that he used for the fretboard, bits of fireplace shelving. Yeah, one of the Queen documentaries that I have, he actually describes all the parts that made up the red special.
Yep, and he plays with a 6-pence coin.
A 6-pence coin,
which is no longer in circulation.
No, it isn't.
So, interesting And then we have
Oh my goodness.
the Grand Dame, Florence Foster Jenkins.
I don't
Socialite.
I don't hold her in
sometimes singer.
ridicule anymore. I used to, but I
No.
don't anymore.
So, who knew music could sound that way?
Oh, I know.
It was said about her, and this is a good direct quote, no one before or since has succeeded in liberating themselves so completely of musical notation.
Oh, that's about right. But actually, in a
Her-
way, I'm going to call that a compliment if you really think about it, because it just means to show how uninhibited she really was.
Oh, she was. She was socialite. All of her money was old money.
Mm-hmm.
And
she loved the arts.
She loved the arts. She loved to sing.
Even though she was
just
terrible at
couldn't
it.
sing.
She was terrible at it, yeah.
Ridiculed, and you know.
And I know that when we listen to our recordings of her, we laugh. But I would recommend that people need to see the movie that starred Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Oh, Meryl was fabulous.
Meryl was brilliant. But when is Meryl not brilliant?
Well,
but
that's true.
The fact is that after seeing that movie, I came to a level of respect for Florence that I didn't have before. And now I kind of have a sense of sorrow for her.
Exactly.
I mean, at first
she really, truly wanted to.
She really did, and she was not a healthy woman either. She was
Enrico
sick.
Caruso was fond of her, extremely fond.
She was
of
a
her.
good person.
Yep.
She really was. So I now have a sense of sorrow whenever I listen to her recordings.
Yep. And then we have a Facebook friend who actually is an opera singer, Zach Owen, and Paul Gravel, and Lori Iwanski, my one-time manager and coworker. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Hi, this is Holly. You're tuned in to Krypton Radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi.
Go give a listen to us over at Krypton Radio on Tuesdays at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific times, and listen to the rest of their other content they have. It's a 24-hour geeky internet radio station that has all kinds of different shows and music and filk and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And take a look at Gene Turnbow, who is the station manager. He's on Facebook. Give him a shout out.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
It is feedback time, and each of the links that will be brought up in this feedback section will be, the links for those will be appearing in the show notes for this episode, number 282, at tggeeks.com. Starting off with, regarding Nerdy Chupacabras, issue number 1, got a comment from Hamish Downey, and he says, a lovely start to a new series. And then, oh boy, watch out. Okay, regarding TG Geeks episode number 279. Now, let me back up. During the birthday segment, Bob Fosse was mentioned.
Exactly.
And
we talked about jazz
hands. But my lovely honey over there kind of went jazz hands like that. So, and I went, what?
Now, and that goes back to, and you have to, it's a little short film.
Oh my God, with Grant Gustin.
And
I can't think of the
Tom,
guy. Yeah, Tom Peckinpah or something like that. I can't remember what his name is.
Tom Peckinpah?
Yeah, Tom Peckinpah. I don't know what his name is. I don't recall his last name.
Anyway, they talk about
dancing, yes. And they make reference, and they're talking about jazz hands, and Grant Gustin's character calls them something else.
Something else, yes.
Yes. Now, okay.
So that was really a reference to that.
It was, but hold on to your horses, people. You're going to love this. Because I said that was a Freudian slip on Keith's part. Just wait. This comes from Arkle. Love you, Arkle. Only you would come up with something like this.
Exactly. Thank you for the content.
Yes, thank you. It wasn't a Freudian slip, Ben. Keith just almost said the name of a genre of music in Star Wars. Oh, where that I was kidding. And when I go to the Star Wars wiki, in this case, it's the Wikipedia, there is a form of music called jizz. And I'm reading it off their website. Jizz is a genre of music. Jizz wailers were musicians who specialized in the genre. Max Rebo and his band were popular jizz wailers. So that's that.
That doesn't get us.
I hope that doesn't get us I'm quoting a website, and it's of a legitimate genre. So okay, there we are. And then moving on. Now that we leave that one alone, I guess during the conversation, Charles Messier was mentioned.
Yes.
So we got a comment on our YouTube channel from the Mikester 307, and he says in his best Homer Simpson voice, Messier numbers. Why he said that, I don't know. And then moving on, because we were interviewing Ira Naiman, the editor of Amazing Stories, and he writes, "It really was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me." And then lastly, got a comment from Stephanie L. Weipert, and she says, "One of your better interviews, guys."
Oh, thanks, Stephanie.
Well, thanks. But so does that mean that our other interviews suck?
Yeah,
Please.
they're crap.
Yeah, they're crap.
Stop recording crap.
Yeah, don't interview crap. Is that what you're trying to tell us, Stephanie? Don't mince words.
We're just kidding.
Don't mince words, folks.
Kidding.
I want to know what you have to say. Moving right along, regarding Andrea's angle, Jon Stewart's new comedy is charming, insightful, and irresistible. Got a comment from Hamish Downey. He says, seems like retirement is suiting Jon Stewart just fine. And then lastly, regarding News Sushi number 102, morsels of news from Japan and beyond, got a comment from Michael Chan. Hamish included a short film that Michael had filmed and put there. I'm trying to do several things at the same time here. Sorry.
He had done the film.
Yeah, that's it. And got a comment from Michael Chan. He says, thank you so much to Hamish Downey and TG Squared Studios for featuring Switch, that's the name of the short film, in the latest issue of News Sushi. Timothy, the person who was in it, and I are honored. And that is our feedback for today.
Praying hands. You can leave a comment on anything that we talk about or publish on tggeeks.com. You can do it on the article itself or the episode. You can do it on Facebook because we publish everything to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can comment there. Or you can call and leave us a voicemail at 469-TGGeeks. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. Well, as everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, others. Please go to their web pages, their Etsy pages, their Twitter pages, their Facebook pages, Instagram, any place that you find those independent creators that you like. Buy their stuff, chat them up, tell other people about their stuff. Please support independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV/AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. They could use your assistance right now during these tough times. You can go to jtfp.org and sign up to do a monthly recurring gift or a singular gift. Visit Joshua Tree Feeding Program. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-344-5400. 888-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, we got a minute or so that we can talk about a couple of things.
Yes, we're doing a rewatch on something, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I saw something on Twitter from Eddy McClintock, and he posted about, it was a number of years ago, that the premiere of this series that he was in was on Syfy, and that was Warehouse 13.
Wow. It kind of holds up.
It holds up very nicely.
Yeah.
And I
a couple of things that are kind of dated, but
a little bit
like a flip phone.
Yeah. Okay. So what? I mean, I'm going to give that a pass, but the quality of the show holds up. And I remember saying when we watched it, because we caught it on its initial run, right as it premiered, and we followed it as each episode aired. And I remember thinking that this was an amazing series and that it hit the ground running.
Yep,
and
exactly.
And I still feel that way. I think the characters are fantastic. The whole premise of the story is very entertaining, and I think the cast is they're so much fun to watch.
And I love Mrs. Frederick.
Who doesn't love Mrs. Frederick?
Exactly.
Yeah, C.H. Pounder. She's amazing. I think she's fantastic.
Yep.
I love her. Yeah, it's a great show. It's great to watch it again.
And then we watched A Big Pile of Poo.
Oh my God!
Here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm going to say this: Artemis Fowl, Artemis stink.
Yeah, well,
it stinks. It's a very foul movie.
Brian Augustine posted on your review, says Artemis Fowl.
Oh, did he post? I didn't know he did it. Oh, I didn't know he had done that.
Yep.
I kept wondering, how come nobody is commenting on that? I thought that review was going to get a lot of comments because you had posted on Facebook that we were watching it, and there was a lot of people chiming in, saying what a bad movie it was, and they were offering their own opinions. So I thought that movie was going to get some kind of response in terms of my review. Nothing. So I was really dismayed at that, but I'm nice to know at least Brian wrote something on that. Okay, cool. And these are the articles that we ran on our website this past week at tggeeks.com. And we'll have the links for each of these articles on our website for this episode. Starting with Sunday, June 5th, Nudie Chupacabra's... Nudie.
Nudie Chupacabras.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops.
There's my
Nerdy.
phrase. Nerdy Chupacabras, issue number 3. And then on Monday, June 6th, TG Geeks episode number 281. On Tuesday, July 7th. My God, July. These are July. What am I saying?
June.
No, I don't want to do June again.
June is busting out all over.
Yeah. Tuesday, July 7th. Ben's breakdown, Artemis Fowl, is nothing more than a turkey. I just wrote... It feels like we watched that a month ago.
I know.
And I just ran that review
last month.
I guess it was. And then on Wednesday, July 8th, HBO Max greenlights animated series Young Love, based on the Academy Award-winning short film Hair Love. Oh my God. What a fantastic animated short. It is funny and it is touching. It'll make you laugh and it will make you cry in all the right ways. Yep. It's a beautiful short, and I'm glad to see they're doing something on that.
Exactly.
And then on Thursday, Oprah Winfrey and Lionsgate team up to create must-media content from Nicole Hannah-Jones, the 1619 Project. This is a massive press release that we got from Finger Paint Film. I really recommend everybody take a look at it. They're going to be doing something really big that's going to be crossing all sorts of media, film, television, all sorts of studio platforms. Take a look at it, and it's about the 1619 Project. It's really important. Moving on, Friday, July 10th, Hamish Downey has 5 questions with Rick Kaplan. And then we close it off Saturday, July 11th. Radioactive trailer and press release. That is a new movie coming out from Amazon Studios later this month, and Andrea Richoff will be doing a review of it. And that is where we ran.
That's it.
Have to give some thanks first to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News for publishing our content from time to time that comes out from the human Arkle. Brian Weber, you heard from him earlier during our feedback. And you can find the Post-Dispatch News by finding him on Twitter. Look for Arkle, at ARKLE. And while you're looking for him, you might as well go to YouTube and look for Arkle Studios. Brian has a number of projects. His Nameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies
the
series.
Nameless Cash Grab?
Shameless!
I thought you said nameless.
I did?
Yes.
It's supposed to be shameless. It's not nameless. There's nothing nameless about it. His Shameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies series, and his game videos of Trick and Treat and Star Trek Online. You go to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. And we must give some shout outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. You can find them by going to facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours, and also to The Gay Geek for allowing us the same luxury. The URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And as always, we must give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And as always, we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Check us out on Krypton Radio, as you heard earlier, 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. And listen to their other fine content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can surf the internet and listen to the episode at the same time. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page, including Dear Satan and several other things. And remember, comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357.
Can I add one thing? Our feedback is drying up, people. No
Yeah.
one's commenting. So, hey,
Oh,
send
no.
feedback.
Talk to us.
Please go on.
You've lost me now. From TG Squared Studios.
Mission accomplished.
I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to each other and those around you. Stay home, stay safe, stay sane. Peace.
Cheers.